Opposition leader Issa Tchiroma Bakary, who insists he is the rightful president-elect of Cameroon, dramatically escalated the political confrontation by declaring Friday, November 21st, 2025, a National Day of Mourning. Now, he ordered a total nationwide shutdown, including businesses, public offices, and transportation, to honor civilians killed while defending their votes after the disputed October 12th election. Now, this comes just 2 days after Tchiroma, breaking a week of silence, appointed Barrister Alice NKom as his official spokesperson. Now, he dismissed the partial release of minors as a masquerade and warned that arrests are continuing. Crucially, the public reaction on social media has been overwhelmingly positive, with many Cameroonians pledging to respect the shutdown, reinforcing their belief that Tchiroma is the true leader. This widespread promise of compliance signals a deep level of support and poses a significant non-violent challenge to the authority of the Paul Biya regime. Today on The Conversation, I'm joined by Dorcas Ekupe. She is a freelance correspondent in Yaoundé, Cameroon's political capital. Thank you so much for joining us on The Conversation, Dorcas.
The pleasure is mine.
So speak to us. Issa Tchiroma Bakary spent over a decade as Paul Biya's Minister of Communications, right? Notoriously defending the very security forces that he now accuses of barbarism. First of all, how does he convince the Cameroonian streets or the regular Cameroonians, and specifically the Anglophone minority that he once dismissed, that this conversation is genuine and not just a political opportunity?
Well, first of all, you must understand that he spent close to a decade, not more than a decade, and it should be noted that Issa Tchiroma Bakary has won the hearts of many Cameroonians. Recall that some time back he was imprisoned because he was a vocal critic of the Biya regime, and Cameroonians think that he has indeed won their hearts because he went to the restive northwest region of the country, and there he apologized to them and said it's time for a change. And also, Tchiroma had also told the local population that he is there now and he has said it's time for a change and Cameroonians should trust him, and he has been vocal about that. He has been very vocal about that. You should recall that in the past, usually when he canvasses for votes, he will take the votes and he will hand it over to the ruling regime. But that did not happen this time. When he canvassed, when he went for campaigns, he went for that. He didn't give the votes to Paul Biya like he used to do. And so Cameroonians said, okay, we have every right to trust him. And since then, he has been very vocal, he has been very outspoken, and he has told the Cameroonian population that it's time for a change. And this has made people to love him even more because people said they better go with the devil they know. And you must understand that Paul Biya has been there for quite some time now. And so Cameroonians just want a change and say, after 43 years in power, let's try Tchiroma and see what he owes. Like I said, he had apologized. He went to the northwest region during the campaign time and apologized to the local population that way.
All right, now speaking of him being very vocal now, he actually called for a National Day of Mourning and total shutdowns, from a safe house in Gambia. Now, do you think that his physical absence from Yaoundé would weaken the morale of the Cameroonians on the streets who are actually who are faced, or some, if they intend to go ahead with, are facing live ammunition?
Yes, indeed, it will weaken a few Cameroonians. But recall that the Minister of Interior Affairs, Paul Tanganji, had threatened to arrest Tchiroma and said that because Tchiroma is inciting the population to violence, those acts will not go unpunished. And recall, Tchiroma had come out to say on Facebook that he had been threatened, and he even said that there are snipers around his hometown in Gara in the north of Cameroon. We've heard reports of how his cooks were taken away and how some family members have been threatened. And so it was but just necessary for Tchiroma to go to the Gambia where he could seek refuge. And also, why not learn from Gambia, given what happened to the Gambia some years back?
All right. Dorcas, now let's quickly talk about, the appointment of Barrister Alice NKom, who is known to be a legend of human rights litigation in Cameroon. He appointed her as his spokesperson. Would love to hear your thoughts, even though we know you did say that, at some point, Tchiroma became a critic of the Biya regime, but some would actually say it is a strategic masterstroke to whitewash, Tchiroma's past record. That's him, appointing her as a spokesperson, while others would actually think that her presence signals a shift from a political dispute to a potential case at the International Criminal Court. What are your thoughts?
Well, you must understand that she has been criticizing the Biya regime. She said it was Issa Tchiroma Bakary that was to be announced as the president and contested the victory of and contested the presidential victory, the results. And she said it was Tchiroma who has won, and he has 70% of the vote. So the fact that, yes, it's true, she might be older than Issa Tchiroma Bakary, given, room for doubting why this, of her age. But just the fact that she's been a vocal critique of the Biya government, I think there's some room for, for trust there to happen.
All right, so I'm told that our second guest has actually joined, Dr Bamnjo Herman. He's a political analyst in Bamenda, northwest region of Cameroon. Thank you so much, Dr. Herman, for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me in this discussion. It's a pleasure to be part of the discussion.
It's a pleasure to have you as well. So let's have your thoughts. I'm sure you've listened to us from the beginning. Let's have your thoughts on this, especially with the government reporting 16 deaths and rights groups saying that, there's been over 55 deaths. I think, if I remember clearly, we saw similar disparities in 2018 and 2020 as well. So if the November 21st shutdown was indeed a success, as a lot of social media, or social media has actually suggested, why are we seeing no cracks in the loyalty of the elite rapid intervention battalion?
Thank you very much. I just want to begin from somewhere to say that, first and foremost, the present political dispensation, there is a lot that is going on. And you talk about the crackdown. You have to understand that the northern part of the country is a very strategic region of the country, Cameroon. And since it's a strategic, area, you will not expect that in the northern part of the country, that the same scenario or the same crackdown that we have perhaps in the northwest and southwest, that will have a similar thing. Now, you will have to understand that Biya regime is very technical. They are very technical in the way they are able to handle the northern part of the country. So they are very careful, because the northern part of the country can, there is a lot that needs to be done. If you want to stabilize this country, if you want to make sure that there's peace in this country, then there is need for us to have peace in the northern part. So there is a kind of reservation in the way things are handled, especially issues of crackdown and the rest. Now, you want to talk about why why some people talk about the successful lockdown, or whether there was a successful lockdown or not. You have to understand that the aspect of lockdown is an Anglo-Saxon culture. It's an Anglo-Saxon culture, and it is a way of weakening the state. It is a way of weakening Biya's regime. And they did it the first time, and they saw that there is a spillover effect in the economic situation of the country. Whether we like it or not, it is affecting the economic negatively. So therefore, the social media, the social media, some to an extent, they are right to say that there is a kind of success recorded during the lockdown. And you also have to understand that it affects not only the northern part of the country, it also affects other regions, because we have a spillover effect in other regions economically, and of course socially. So that is what you can be able to capture as far as this is concerned. Now let's go back to talk about to emphasize on the issue of lockdown. Now this is somebody who has worked with the system very well. This is somebody who has been a minister in the system. He has occupied key position in government cycle. He has occupied the Minister of Transport. He has occupied the Minister of Communication, and of course the Minister of Vocational Training. You can be rest assured that these ministries are very strategic to the government of Cameroon, and he has trained himself through the process. He has trained himself in the administrative process of the country, and he has the mastery on how to be able to impact the government, and he feels that this is actually the only way you can be able to impact the government negatively. And you want to say to that this is somebody who came during the last campaign and talked with the Anglophones and tried to convince the Anglophones that, you see, I was in the system, I worked with the system, I did not do what was expected of me, and you have to note from this point that this is an individual who was a Minister of Communication. Mm-hmm. Minister of Communication means that you are the spokesperson of the state. And if you are the spokesperson of the state, whatever the state want you to say, you are going to say it. Even if it's negative, you are going to say it. That is his role as the spokesperson of the state. And I think that he was able to have come out of that shell to say that, see, I have to represent the state's ideology. I have to represent the state. And he even went as far to say that the military has not been killing people. I mean, I think that he apologized. We are not interested in the apology. But I want to see the reason why we had such a personality who one point indicate that yes, what the system is doing is not right. It means that he has acknowledged that the system has the system.
All right. Well, we seem to
thought that, and if the system has thought that, must be able to think about what to do.
All right, we seem to be having, connection issues with Dr. Herman, but we'll definitely get back to you. So let's come back to you, Dorcas. Dorcas, you've heard all that he has actually said, right? Now, the Constitutional Council dismissed every single petition regarding the October 12th vote. So, but if legal avenues are exhausted, and even protests are met with lethal force, what is the actual remaining strategy for the opposition? Okay, I'm being told that Dorcas, we have an issue with connecting with Dorcas. Do we have Dr. Herman? All right, Dr. Herman, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, we seem to be having cracks in your audio, but let's hope that it's been fixed. So, to you, the question that I just asked Dorcas, about the Constitutional Council dismissing every single petition regarding the elections on the 12th, right? So, if all these avenues have been, exhausted, what is the actual remaining strategy for the opposition at the moment?
Now, I want to think that if we're talking about the Constitutional Council, the Constitutional Council acted based on what came in from the divisional and the divisional and subdivisional counting commission. So they act an regional and, of course, subdivisional counting commission. It represents the results. So they were acting based on that particular the particular results. Now, if they have exhausted, they have thrown out all the petition, and I want to think that Issa Tchiroma did not petition the Constitutional Council. He did not petition the Constitutional Council because he claimed that he won the election, so why should he petition the Constitutional Council? But I think that if he has their human rights groups, there are human rights groups that are advocating for his case. We've heard of his advocacy based on at the international level, some organizations that he's trying to advocate, because if we have exhausted the Constitutional Council, there is the international community. It is only the international community, if he feels that there is or that his case is actually legit, then there are other avenues like international organizations. We have not only international organizations, we have civil society organizations. And I think that Alice NKom, who is one of the civil society organizations, I think she's also there to ensure that, or to accompany him or to buy his ideology. And you want to also note that it now depends, or some countries have congratulated the head of state for his the head of state Biya for his re-election. That is to tell you that beside the legitimacy that has been given, at the local level, at the national level, countries are now giving legitimacy to his leadership. So I think that it becomes very complex to actually say that there are other avenues that we can seek, but other avenues, who are those that are in other avenues? If we are talking about international organizations, there are states that are under international organization. We have various states that are in other international organizations. And some of these letting him based on the re-election. So we want to say that even civil society organization, some of the civil society organization, they are from states. And states are sovereign. So therefore, you want to say that it is a very complex situation. It is a very complex situation at this point in time. And the various opposition parties, you want to know that the various opposition parties, given that there was no, they did not have a unified opinion towards a particular political party. So it becomes even difficult for other political parties to see whether they could assist or they could align with him. And you know that the state has a machinery. The state has a machinery whereby if you are as a state, as an individual, they consider that Issa Tchiroma is attempting to destabilize the state or destabilize the system. And therefore, other political parties, other opposition parties are worried. They are afraid because they will feel that if they can be able to, or if they can have align with Issa Tchiroma Bakary as to fight for his result, then the state sledgehammer can come in following them.
All right, Dr. Herman. All right, Dr. Herman, if you can hear me now, we've already, stated that, the Gambia is hosting Tchiroma on humanitarian grounds. But the question still remains, how long can Bamnjo maintain this hospitality, before the diplomatic pressure from Yaoundé and even its allies, Paris, becomes too costly. And also Nigeria has been mentioned as a partner, in seeking a negotiated solution. Now, we know that Nigeria has its own security cooperation, with Cameroon against, Boko Haram. But do you think that Abuja can really afford to be seen as harboring or supporting destabilizing opposition movement next door?
Now, I want to think that at the level of he's in Gambia, and the Gambian government has made it clear that it is more humanitarian, and I think that the collaboration that is existing, it is now being seen from the religious perspective. Because Nigeria, and there are certain areas in Nigeria that may be thinking of a kind of mediation, because he's a Muslim, and such areas are Muslim dominated. And of course, it's almost a similar thing in the Gambia. It's almost a similar thing in the Gambia. So when you go to the Gambia, it's the same. It's the same thing, and the Gambia may want to host him as long as he wants to stay to seek how the situation can come back. But I want to think that at this level there is need for a kind of mediation. There is need for a kind of a negotiation. We need a third party. We need a third party to bring these parties together, because it is even alleged that there has been some government emissaries that have been sent to convince Tchiroma, or to negotiate with Tchiroma based on him taking certain position in the state, and he has refused. It is alleged. Now, you have to also understand that if this is coming up, it is because there is need for there is a negative impact. There is a negative impact that is being felt by the state based on the results, or based on what the claims that Tchiroma is making. So I think that talking about the Nigeria, we're talking about Nigeria. I think it is on the basis of religious tendencies that you see Nigeria may want to come in.
Oh, okay. So, but what about the African Union?
It is true that Nigeria has her own issues. Yeah, Nigeria has her own issues. But if Nigeria has an issue and the backyard of
Dr. Herman, I was actually asking, what about the African Union?
Also has an issue. Cameroon has an issue.
All right, I'm being told that, the network is really, testing us at the moment. So we would actually have to wrap up this conversation. But thank you so much, Dorcas Ekupe, freelance correspondent in Yaoundé, Cameroon, and also Dr Bamnjo Herman, political analyst in Bamenda, Northwest region of Cameroon, for joining us and speaking on this. I wish we had more time, but we'll take a quick break. When we come back, the show continues. Stay with us.